Silver's just not practical enough. That's why I decided to commit what you may think is complete sacrilege by chopping up this bar. But really, it is very impractical as a long-term investment. Gold is just way better. Now, that doesn't mean that there is no place for silver in your stack and investment portfolio, but you need to have a good, long, hard think about it before you get lots of it. So let's talk today about why silver just isn't valuable enough yet. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a very warm welcome to you all joining me for another precious metal ramble. Now, silver just is not valuable enough yet. Maybe one day it will get to a point where I would be proven wrong and the life-changing sums of money that you want from your silver investments might come to fruition. But if you're investing to have life-changing sums of money generated from silver, you're going to have a pretty large stack of it. A 100-ounce bar at £2,500 or just over $3,000 is not life-changing sums of money. Even if it doubles, you're not going to be able to retire off that, not going to be able to pay off the mortgage on that. The impracticality of silver cannot be ignored, certainly over a lifetime of stacking, or just if you're on a big budget and you want to get a lot of money into precious metals. Gold is king, and I'm going to share some of my history, my stories about how I got into silver and then found the impracticality creeping up on me very quickly, and also what we can do about it if that happens. I have chosen to chop up this 5 kilo bar. That's not necessarily something that a lot of people will want to do. I, of course, can melt it down for my own poured silver. Now, please feel free to shout at me in the comment section about the real sacrilege that I have committed here by cutting up this bar. It's not finished by any stretch. I've managed to get about 2.5 kilos out of it so far. I think it's about 2.3 kilos, I think, something like that. And I will be chopping up the rest in due course and melting it down because I find that much more practical than a big chunky 5 kilo bar. It's just not that great. But anyway, let me know down in the comment section just quite how sacrilege or how much sacrilege I have committed. Open season, just go for it. Let me know. Also, whilst you're down there, if you want to subscribe and you're not already done so, then now is a great time to subscribe because we're vastly approaching 60,000 subscribers, and I'll be giving this bar away. I have to finish it at some point with the date that we hit 60,000 and get it hallmarked, but that will be given away on our channel at some point. So definitely don't miss the chance to subscribe. So let's get on with the video, the impracticalities of silver. So realistically, if you have 100 ounces of silver, that's a big chunk of silver. Not everybody can afford 100 ounces of silver. Slowly over time, you'll find actually that you might get there quite quickly. Even if you buy just a few ounces a month, you'd be quite surprised how quickly that will get you to the 100 ounces. And over a lifetime, you could find yourself really having quite a lot of silver, which brings some impracticalities. Now, it's a first world problem to go, oh, woe is me, I just don't have enough space to store my silver. But it's actually something that happens way more frequently than you might think. I know for me, for example, when I got first started in silver, I had a few little tubes of coins to start with and thought that's all I wanted, that's my lot. But very quickly I realized, well, I had about 100 ounces all in, and at the time that had cost me around about £1,200, so £12 an ounce. I realized, well, look, even if this doubles, it's not really life-changing sums of money. It's certainly nowhere near kind of the return that I would perhaps want to have for something that is ultimately a little bit more risky to have in your home. So I went a bit bigger and I bought some more. And then I started my silver pouring business and I just got completely out of control. I am completely addicted to silver. I can't help it. That's just how I am. Today's video is sponsored by Iber American, whose ticker symbol is IBRLF and can be found down in the description box below. You can also find links to their website and corporate presentation, which we're going to have a quick look at here today. Iber American is a very interesting company, but instead of focusing on precious metals, they focus on other metals that are key to our modern society and industrial infrastructure, namely tin. Now, it's very important to remind you that I'm not offering financial advice. They are a junior mining and exploration company and as such represent a more risky investment than we might be used to than owning physical gold or silver. But they do represent a different way to invest in the base metal markets. The main reason Iber American is of interest that unlike other tin mining companies, their operations are based in Europe. They're currently trying to acquire one of the largest tin mines in Europe, the Panueta project, located in Spain. Iber American represents a very unique opportunity for investing in one of the best performing base metals over the last few years, namely tin. Now, tin is an integral metal for our industrial complex, from the production of electrical components all the way to automotive production. Iber American are poised to acquire a very rich and high-yielding project in Spain with the goal of resuming production as soon as possible. Their acquisition in Spain, the Panueta project, could put them in prime position for a growth of their market cap, and the future growth could be well worth a look at if you wanted to invest in a company solely focused on this one metal. A very rare thing for any company to do. Now, with all of that said, it is important to remind you that I am not offering financial advice. I would caution anybody to do their own research in depth about this organisation before investing. If you're interested, please go and check them out. There is a link in the description box below to all the bits and bobs you've seen here today, including the corporate presentation, which is well worth a look at. Once again, a massive thank you to Iber American for sponsoring today's video, and now back to our precious metal ramble. But very quickly I realized that I could not continue with this. If you realistically want to, if you've got a big lump of change, if you've got some savings that you want to look to maybe put into, sort of basically precious metals for that long-term future, like we did when we got started, you'll very quickly realize that doing any semblance of large amounts of money will require a significant portion of storage, and secure storage at that. So it's of course very important to think about your security of your precious metals at home, and we bought some safes and we had some outsourced storage solutions, but they're not cheap for the size that you get, and very quickly we realized that was not going to be long-term practical for just silver. So gold it was, and I started my gold bug journey, and that has been the best decision I ever made, to put more money into gold. Having the practicalities of gold just completely outweighed silver, and you can't ignore it. Now, it's possible to stack in large volumes for silver for sure, but here's a visual perspective on the two. This here is £2,500 worth of silver, 100 ounces, roughly £25 an ounce right now. 1 ounce of gold is £1,900 right now. If we take, I don't think I've got it exactly, but if we take this double sovereign here, that's worth about 800, it's probably worth more like 900 now. That gives us a total of £2,800 in gold. So you add a little few ounces of silver on here, let's do that, shall we? And those are the two same things. That's exactly the same. And so the practicalities of storage is certainly in question, but also the practicalities of just being able to move it around, to post it off to someone or to a dealer if you're going to sell it, or goodness forbid, if you needed to up sticks and run away, if your house is burning down or something. Not that I would recommend you go and try and faff around in your safe if the house is burning down, but for example, if there was an emergency and you needed to bug out, you're going to be able to pick 100 ounces of silver up? Yeah, you could probably do one. But hey, if you've got 10 100-ounce bars, would you rather have 10 100-ounce bars or, well, I can't do the maths quickly in my head, 10 times this, so 20 gold coins? I think I know what I would have. Very quickly and easily be able to put those in your pocket, and away you go. Now, I am also not a big proponent of bugging out and the bug out kits and, go bags and all of that. It's a culture that I respect, but I just don't need in my life. But ultimately, it is important to think about the practicalities of it. And that's part of the reason why I decided that this 5 kilo bar was just far too impractical. Now, when I purchased it for £3,500, which was £700 per kilo. Spot price has risen significantly since I bought it, to the point where it's now 800, and I think spot is 810 per kilo. So I've gained, what, 3,000? No, sorry, I can't do maths. I've gained 5 times 110. So £550 in equity grown from this. But the problem that we face is that posting it off to a dealer to buy isn't going to be very practical. It's going to be expensive. It's also potentially not insured when posted. So I'd have to maybe take it into a dealer, which means traveling into my local dealer. In the UK, we don't have practical coin shops nearly in every town. So it's very difficult to look to get that actually liquidated. And so I chose a different liquidation path, and that is to melt it into my own bits of poured silver. I much prefer the look and feel of those bits of poured silver, as we can see here from this beautiful heart that I did earlier today. And that's just the nuts and bolts of it. Something big and unpractical like this is just not great. I'd rather sell it in lots of different constituent parts and make some things that are really beautiful. So yes, I've committed some sacrilege here, but at the end of the day, silver is silver. And it's just something, in my opinion, to melt down if it's at the right price. If that offends some people, I'm really sorry, but that ultimately is just business. At the end of the day, it's silver, and I'm going to chop it up, and I'm going to melt it. That's just what I do, unfortunately. Makes some pretty cool chunks of metal, though, that's for sure. And if anyone's wondering how I chop it up, I've got here some mighty old big bolt cutters. It's very hard work, and a lot of people might ask, why don't you just chop it up with like a hand saw or a disc saw and things? Well, I don't have those bits of equipment for one, and also it would be pretty dangerous to use a disc saw on that. And yeah, so it's a good workout, let's put it that way. And in fact, I managed to get a nice blister on my hand from all of the work. I've got another one up there as well from it too. So yeah, from a practicality point of view, silver really isn't that great, but it still can form a part of a portfolio. So if you plan ahead, excuse me, if you plan ahead and you actually look at the storage solution sensibly, if you've got a kind of good eye of where things are going to go, if you're going to look to do big giant chunks of silver or lots of different individual coins slowly over time, you need to think about these things. You can look to swap things out for gold. That's something that I have done in the past, looking to sell bits of silver I bought a long time ago, big 100-ounce bars, exchange those and then buy gold. It's a lot better of a way of storing your wealth over time, in my opinion. There is a reason why nations buy gold and people buy silver, because nations understand the impracticalities of large volumes of silver. Yes, there are some nations that also like to stack silver and have a large backload of silver in their vaults and coffers, but generally gold is your champion. And for us, mere human stackers as opposed to nations, I still think gold beats silver every time. And certainly over a long period, it's just better. Everything about it is better. Doesn't mean you can't buy silver though. If you plan accordingly, if you look about your exit strategies of how you may be going to get rid of your impractical stuff, then you'll be just fine. And that is something definitely to consider. Now, in terms of little announcement before the end, I mentioned it earlier in the video, we're doing a 60,000 subscriber giveaway when we get there. We're very close. We're at, let's have a look what we are right now on the old app. We are at 59,878, so 122 subscribers to go before the big ho ho ho. That's quite not right because it's not Christmas, but it sounded right, so that's what I said. So we will be giving this away at some point. I will be stamping the date on it when we get to the 60,000 subscribers, sending it off for hallmarking. It's a 10-ounce bar, and if you want a chance to win it, then you just need to be subscribed, and then there'll be an announcement video at some point about this giveaway. So thank you all for subscribing if you've already done so, especially to the Backyard Bullion Rambling Society members for your support to the channel, which is invaluable, and to the Cool Kids Club members, I absolutely say you are super extra special cool. That's it from me. We'll see you on the next video. As always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.